Answering 9 soul questions that have helped me to discover my truth during my spiritual awakening process. And today, question number 2. What stories about yourself did you have to let go of, and what changed after that? So, definitely for me, one core story, one illusion I very truthfully had to let go of was the pain of the inner child, the victim mentality of helplessness and being hurt. Like, I'm always the one that is being hurt, the hurt identity of the inner child. And with that comes healing, with that comes wholeness. And I would have to realize that there was this story I was creating over and over again in relationships, in other dynamics, where I would see, okay, why do I feel hurt? I feel unseen. I feel overlooked. I feel criticized and abandoned. And they all reflected back to me my wounded inner child that needed deeply profound attention and healing and acknowledgement and openness and receivership, just to be, just to acknowledge that wounded part. And also realize that this story of what I received, what kind of trauma happened, that this is not me, it is just a part of the story. So I had to detach myself from that. So one very profound aspect of my own healing journey and awakening journey is I had to detach myself from the things my parents did and didn't do in my childhood, and at the same time in this current state of life in my 30s, because I realized that I cannot deny it for myself. Like, my parents had and still in the present moment have the ability to have a huge impact on my mental health. But, and this is self-empowerment, this is true healing and coming back to your own worth, despite of what they do, say or not do, approve of, not approve of, it does not define my worth. It does not have any influence of my ability to live full-heartedly. And at the same time acknowledge that I would love them to be a deep, connected part of my life. And at the same time acknowledge that every human being has their own path. But it's really about acknowledgement and not living a story. A story related to parents is that it's all perfect, you always get along, they're always part of your life, that you have a deep, intimate relationship. And I had to let go of that story, because a lot of the things are not always real in some phases of your life, and just giving yourself the opportunity to detach from those things. The same is with, the worthiness. I had to unpack the stories I was creating about my worthiness. What was it attached to? And as many of us, I was finding myself realizing I had a part of me that was attaching my worth to the actions I was doing. Because from my past, from my childhood, there was conditioned love. So I had to earn it. I had to be something. I had to do something. It was not unconditional. That is the truth, and that is the truth for many of us. And I'm not coming from a place of blaming or criticizing. It's just acknowledgement. It's just acknowledgement that that's what happened, and from that, growing and letting that go, because that is really the story, like the whole childhood dynamic, really letting that go and finding peace within me, despite of any type of connection, if it's parent related, friendship related, that I'm able to find wholeness within me now, with all parts of me, with my shadows, with my good sides, my funny sides, my silly sides, whatever it is, even the things that may be disgusting or some kind of judgmental. So letting go of the self-judgment, the story of criticizing, the story of if I punish myself, that is some kind of a way to make a mistake good again. And during my time when I had my personal training business, there were moments I realized when I took a break, like for lunch, or sometimes in the afternoon, I would do like a power nap, like 10 minutes or 15 minutes, not more. I would find myself judging myself for taking a break. And I could realize how deep that pattern came from past generations of always being productive, and my worth is attached to being overly productive, and it's about competition and a lot of performance driven. So the story of letting go of performance driven identity, it no longer serves me, and honestly it no longer serves our community. The world is changing, and I have no strength attached anymore to performance-driven actions, that I have to deliver something to be worthy. This is not part of my reality anymore, because the worth stems from being, from pure presence, from being in the current moment. And the most value we can give is by being fully in this moment. And that's also why it is so important to get yourself back into your body, and to not leave yourself, to not abandon yourself, to leave yourself emotionally, because you don't want to feel the discomfort, and you want to be loved and seen. And that was a big part for me. In order for me to have a connection with my caregivers, I would have to abandon a part of within me. I would have to adjust in a way, because true authenticity, to be seen, to be fully in my fullness, would create emotional abandonment. Not consciously, but that was the way it was. So a part of me would always have to abandon myself, and that was a very deep process to fully be with myself, to acknowledge who I am right now and what is moving through me and what I feel and what I am in this moment, that it's okay, and that the people around me are able to handle it, and that I'm seen. And furthermore, that I see myself. So the illusion of being too much, of being too much for the way I am, what is being expressed through me. And I feel like that needs healing, and many of us have experienced this type of environment where we had the feeling we could not be ourselves wholeheartedly with all our shadows. And I'm seeing a change, and I'm seeing it within myself, because if I am able to acknowledge myself with everything, then I'm also able to give others the space and the allowance. So, letting go of a lot of stories we have created in our past, especially from our childhood, I feel like I can always get a connection from dysfunctional behaviors or pattern I realize, and I can point back at a time or at a moment where it was created over and over again. One huge realization, which was deeply, deeply buried in my subconscious, and it was so profound, and it was operating in a way I constantly felt that, and it's related to my worth, that I don't have the right to exist. I don't have the right to be here. It was a very, very, very deep pain from my childhood, because in the age of 2 years, my parents split up for the first time. And I realized, when you're so small, when you're a child, you don't have the capacity to process and realize and connect the things in a logical and emotional way. So everything that is happening for the child, it is projected onto me. I'm seeing myself as the source of their split up. It is supernatural for a child to do that, and I had to understand myself where that was coming from. And I saw that because both of my parents, and I saw myself as whole because I'm one from the two of them, so I have both of them within me. But if they split up, within me I split up. I'm broken. I'm gonna be two halves. And when you're so little and so young, you don't intellectually understand it, but I truly feel that the soul feels everything. You cannot give words to it, but you feel it. You have everything inside of you. You may not remember words of your childhood or even pictures, but you feel it in a very, very deep sense. So that's all subconsciously. And because they split up, within me a part was broken, and I had this profound thing of I'm not worthy to exist because my parents are not together. And that left a deep wound within me. And even after 2 years, they came back together. They stayed together till the age of 13. It never left. It was very subconsciously. I was not aware of that pattern, of that illusion. And these were the main stories I really let go of, which helped me to make myself free and become more open to myself, to the world, to what is there for me, and to see my wholeness in my presence, in my being, and not in the connections I have or not have. And that is a huge, huge thing to let go of. It feels very freeing and peacefully. And that were the second question of the 9 questions I'm answering about my spiritual awakening. It's so nice to open this channel up in English and to let myself be free and following that voice within me that loves to share these things. And thank you so much for listening, and I see you in the next video. Bye.